Because the world needs more Sherlock Holmes. Let's break it down. It's 1947 and Sherlock Holmes gave up detecting 35 years ago after a last case that still nags him, but he can't quite remember why, because his memory's not what it was. He's also got to deal with his housekeeper and her young son, as well as flashbacks into a mostly irrelevant trip to Japan. Now, I love Ian McKellen, and he acquits himself beautifully as Holmes, as both this older, doddering, not quite there Holmes, and the younger Holmes just starting to realise that he's ageing. He does it really, really well, and he's very, very good for the role. I just don't see why Sherlock Holmes was in this film at all. And let me explain. This could have been a really beautiful story about a housekeeper and her young son just trying to survive with an aging relative or an aging visitor in the attic slowly losing their marbles. I think this was originally a script like that, sort of an examination of human life, and she gets offered this lifeline and should she take it, and I really felt that story, and then for no apparent reason there's this Sherlock Holmes mystery grafted on top of it. Literally, you could take out all the flashbacks of Sherlock Holmes doing detective, all the flashbacks to this random trip to Japan of all countries in 1947, 2 years into American occupation. I don't think there was much of a tourism industry then. You could have had this really touching drama. And I think that's originally what happened. They had this script, they were trying to get it made, and someone said, you know what, there's a story where Sherlock Holmes is old and doddery, and you can merge these two together. And I think that's what happened. This film is beautiful to look at. It's beautifully shot, beautifully edited. It's got a good flowing narrative for a flashback sensitive piece. But the main narrative of Sherlock Holmes trying to write his memoirs, it could have been anybody. Anyone who knows that they're on their last embers, trying to write down something they did, their memoirs, and it would have been fine. But as it is, this beautiful looking, beautifully made film, if nothing else is on, go and see this, because it fills time whilst waiting for Elementary to come back, for Sherlock to come back, for Robert Downey Jr. to play Sherlock again. Sherlock Holmes is the most filmed fictional character in history, and whilst it would be great to see him as a man who knows that he's on his last days, that's not this film. This film, it felt like grafted. And I'm sure you could strip out all the Sherlock Holmes bits when he's in his peak, and it'll make you a really nice 15 to 20 minute long short film. I'm sure you can strip out the bits where he's in Japan, and they'll make a really nice 10 to 15 minute film. But they especially the trip to Japan. The trip to Japan could have been removed in its entirety. Milo Parker as Roger, as this 10-year-old boy who's a genius like Sherlock and is trying to be mentored by him, does a really good job in his role. Laura Linney as the housekeeper is excellent in her role. She's trying to keep her son on the straight and narrow after her husband died during the war. She's trying to look after Sherlock Holmes. She gets offered this job in Portsmouth, and the film could have really been about her and her dilemma of whether to stay in the South Downs or move to Portsmouth and become a housekeeper and condemn her son to a life of working in a hotel. And that would have been for a really good film, but she plays this dilemma really well, and I really think she's going to do well. She's got a couple more films coming up, and I'm going to keep an eye out for her. End of the day, cards on the table, this is a beautifully shot film. It's definitely not for children. There were a couple of children in my screening, and they were all getting quite fidgety towards the end. This is not Sherlock. This is not the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. This is a more sedate Holmes. I'm Daniel, this is A Donkey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.